This is episode 21, so if that's wrong, you can certainly blame the guy with the moped.
Oh, what a start.
He hasn't had a haircut. I mean, I shouldn't be laughing at incognito muggings.
No.
Because they're not funny, but I do find it very amusing that they've decided to leave your clothes. You've got a good-looking team, Dolan. I'd describe them all as housewives' favourites. Chester's got the body of an Adonis.
Can I believe it, man?
Good impression.
Yeah, not bad. It got better as the impression went on.
That was.
Oh, hello, Marlon.
I said to Anne, should we leave this up on the fridge permanently? And she was like, no. But it's still there. Big Marlon's still on the fridge. Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, sat all on my own because Tom Julian's not here. We had some transport disasters this morning and Tom couldn't make it to the studio, which I do feel for Tom a bit because he was at the game last night and he was looking forward to the podcast. He doesn't get to as many games as he would like, so filling in for him, I'm not doing this on my own. I've managed to draft in Max Stokes from Villa on Tour yet again, a staple of the channel nowadays, aren't you, Max?
I know, yeah. It's like break glass for emergency, Max. I feel like I'm on here every week now. More than my actual own channel, but there you go.
I mean, yeah, that is possibly a problem for you, but you'd have dreamed on being on the Villa View podcast back in the day, before Villa on Tour started.
This is what I dreamt of.
This is what you wanted, and to be fair, I think you're the first person ever who's done the podcast not sat next to me or whoever's presenting at the time, so this is a first. We'll see how it goes. It didn't get off to the best of starts because we actually did a couple of minutes and I hadn't pressed record on the camera, so you can see who usually takes care of the technical side of things in the podcast booth. So apologies if anything goes awry with this because I'm not the most reliable with the technology. But Max, we were both at the game last night. We met up for a few beers before the game, spent some time together. I think we went into the game relatively confident, didn't we, that we might get something, but I don't know what you thought of the game overall, and we'll come on to that, but it just didn't happen, did it?
No, I wasn't particularly confident going into it. Obviously, we didn't know.
Okay, I thought you would have been.
Not really. I know it was a good performance at Man United on Sunday. I don't think we were quite at that point, and obviously Chelsea right now are a far better side than Man United, especially away from home as well. I just didn't really fancy us. I know Tammy Abraham started. I didn't think he was going to be fit. And then when I saw the team sheet and I found out that he was, you just knew he was going to score, didn't you? You just knew it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't confident. I think we were a little bit too patchy throughout the game. We'd go through 20 minutes of being brilliant. Well, not brilliant, but, having a bit of the ball, having chances, and then Chelsea would, get on top of us and we wouldn't be able to get out of our own half. So it was a little bit frustrating at times. The end product wasn't quite there. I just don't think it clicked for us in the final third last night, but there's a few positives to build on. Not as many as, at United away, but again, it's another top six side that we haven't managed to take any points off. But, at the end of the season, you just want to beat the sides around you. So it's not crucial that we lost, but not ideal.
No, you say I was different to you. The Man U game had actually buoyed me a little bit, and I felt good going into it. I thought we've got a chance here. Chelsea have lost a couple on the spin. Like you said, obviously we thought Tammy might be out. That would have been a bonus for us, but I don't think they had their best, strongest 11 out last night. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong there, but it didn't feel like it was full on Chelsea, full tilt last night. But then, obviously, you're saying about these 20-minute patches. I thought we were pretty poor throughout, actually.
Yeah, overall, I think we were poor. But I think up to the first goal, we were really poor. I don't think Kepa had to do anything at all. And then, obviously, they got the first goal. And then we kind of woke us up a little bit. I think we kept on giving the ball away a little bit too much. But then, a few nice passes, and we obviously get the goal, which is a weird one, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But yeah, overall, it just wasn't, it just didn't click. Like I said, it just wasn't fantastic. But you got to move on, and yeah, it's not brilliant. But what can you do?
I mean, I was thinking, it's a nice problem to have. Been a little bit disappointed of not coming away with anything at Stamford Bridge, but I just felt we lacked a little bit of intensity. I felt like we let Chelsea do what they wanted when they had the ball, whereas when we had the ball, I felt like it was quite tight out there and quite suffocating, that we didn't get a lot of time. Whereas when Chelsea had it, I felt like they had carte blanche to do what they wanted, really. I mean, the first goal from Tammy, I don't remember there being many chances before the first goal. It's just like there's no one anywhere near him. He's gonna score. He's gonna score. If you give him time, Tammy Abraham will find the net in the penalty area, and we did just that. It was just claiming for an offside that wasn't there from Konsa, and there was just no challenge. And if you're going to pick up anyone in the box, it has to be Tammy.
Yeah, there was a few warning signs, wasn't there? I think probably the first chance was Pulisic getting the ball in the midfield and then just running at us, and we didn't know what to do. Obviously, he gives it to Willian. Heaton makes a pretty routine save, but that's what got me throughout the game. I think when Chelsea's players started like running at us, getting their heads down and running at us, we didn't really know what to do, and the back four sort of panicked a little bit. Obviously, for the goal, I think we touched on it in the preview for this game. Crosses, a little bit concerning. Obviously, both goals at Man United came from crosses. This goal came from a cross, and we haven't exactly got the smallest back line in the world. Mings is 6'5", Conce is 6'2" or whatever he is. Elmohamady's good in the air.
We've got a keeper that comes out and dominates as well, to be fair.
I don't think the goal was the keeper's fault at all.
No.
But Abraham found himself in between the two centre halves all the time in the world, and he could barely miss. It just wasn't there. Crosses, I said it all the way throughout the game. Pulisic could have scored a header as well before Elmohamady got that away. But up to that point, crosses is what worries me a lot. The second goal as well, guess what, came from a cross. It's a bit weird, that one. I think we need to work on that. Like I said, we've got big players, and I'm not too sure why that's such a big issue.
No, because you think back to the Man U game, the game before, that's 2 crosses. Liverpool, 2 crosses, albeit one's from a set piece. So you're right, there is, a few people have touched on it in the questions as well, but that is a worrying pattern, because we're doing quite well in all but crosses. Well, I think we're defending generally quite well. You don't look at our defence and think, it's terrible, we're all over the place, but we are conceding a lot of goals. I think Aston said to me on text, you shouldn't need to score 3 goals away from home every game to try and win, and that is what it feels like a little bit at the moment.
True, I know we've got a pretty good goal difference.
We have.
We've got the best in the bottom half, I think, or something like that. We score a lot of goals.
Well, we did have.
We do score a lot of goals. I think defensively is a little bit concerning, because if we can be better from, like you said, defensively overall, we are okay. If we can cut out the silly mistakes, like, Mings had a couple last night. He was at fault for the first one at Man United. Obviously, he tried to clear the ball 5 times, went out for a corner and they scored. So if we cut out these silly mistakes, work on our things that we're not good at, like crosses, I think, we score enough goals. And I think obviously we'll come on to Wesley, and he hasn't scored in, feels like months, but we still score
Norwich,
goals.
Wasn't it?
So, it's a bit of a funny one. Defensively overall it's good. It's just the sloppy mistakes. I think we'll come on to Mings as well. He hasn't been fantastic in the last 3 weeks, which is a little bit concerning. Obviously Conce coming in for his first 3 or 4 games in the Premier League. Is there a question of Engels coming in now, do you think, or what's all that about?
I think Conce deserved to keep his place when Engels came back, and I actually fancied us against TAMMY. I thought, well, Mings will know his game inside out. I think Conce is very athletic. Like, Tammy's going to struggle to get him behind him. So I'm disappointed with the way we defended against Abraham, because I think we should have had enough to deal with him, really. I think you get what I'm saying, where I think that he's the kind of striker that should suit those 2 defenders, and we just gave him all the time in the world, put him under no pressure at all for both goals, and both goals have come from that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, especially from the first one. You can't be on the 6-yard line and just have that much space. That is the concerning thing. I think for Leicester, I probably would bring Engels back in. He's had, I don't know how long he's been out for. It feels like weeks and weeks.
He's missed the last 2 or 3, hasn't he?
Yeah, plus an international break as well. So he's had a load of time out. So I'd probably bring him back in. I don't think Conce's had a load of good games, let's be fair. But I heard a few people yesterday saying probably take Mings out. I think
No, that'll never happen.
No, I don't think it will. Obviously, because of the price tag, and he overall has been good. It's the silly mistakes as well. He made one towards the end of the Newcastle game, Man United game as well. No, Chelsea game towards the end. He tried to cut back, and Abraham just nicked it off him. He probably should have scored, Abraham. But I'd probably bring Engels back in. He's had a lot of time to recover. Conce hasn't. I don't think Conce's made any notable mistakes or anything like that. I just think get Mingles back together, get those 2 know each other a little bit more than probably Conce and Mings do, and hopefully we can just tighten it up a little bit, because it is concerning a little bit.
Yeah, I know we kept a clean sheet against Newcastle, but it doesn't feel like there's loads of clean sheets incoming at the moment, and it doesn't feel like there's been loads over the last month or so. Do you think it's down to concentration a little bit? Because like we're saying here, I don't look at that defence and think, all over the place. I actually think it's pretty organised. It's just those small margins, those small moments in games that are turning into big moments, because teams are getting goals off us switching off. That's how it looks to me a little bit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with the concentration and focus and things like that, as well as silly mistakes. I don't think You see towards the end, especially these top 6 games, I remember Arsenal away towards the end of the game, I think the concentration went a little bit there, gave away a sloppy penalty and things like that. I just think, maybe the game management side of things as well, maybe sitting too deep. I don't think we did that against Chelsea at all, but in the past I think we have. The sloppy mistakes as well is what's concerning. I don't, bring it back to the Man United game, the Wesley flicking on for the Lindelof goal. It's just those little things.
I mean, that's unlucky. I think. I think that's down to luck.
A little bit down to luck as well. It's just the bits of quality you see from the bigger sides where they put in a fantastic cross and you can't miss. Just things like that. It's just getting a little bit annoying now. But concentration is a little bit of an issue, especially towards the end of games. Because I think I saw this stat that keeps on doing the rounds this season, where if games finished at half time, we'd be second. I know that means literally nothing at all, but it's just quite interesting. Like towards what's happening in the second half. Are we just throwing it away? Like you said, is it concentration? Is it things like that? Because that is. Second in the table, that's mental. It's just frustrating. It is.
Because I'm a bit like you. I don't try and read not too much into things like that. I think things can usually be balanced and tilted one way or the other. But it is a trend, whether we like it or not. That is a trend there that's happening now, and it is bizarre that in the first half we let in minimal goals, but the second half, most of the goals we concede just comes from there, and it is a worry. Like the crosses, it's a worrying trend.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we can do to rectify it. Like you said, is it game management? Is it just cutting out these silly things? Is it concentration? I'm not too sure. Like, that's up to Dean Smith and the coaching staff to find out a way to stop the second half sloppiness. But I'm not too sure whether you switch around the defence for these upcoming Christmas period games. I'm not too sure, but something's got to change because it is a worrying trend.
Yeah, I mean, at that point I was thinking, could be in a little bit of trouble here, but actually we got our heads down a little bit, conjured together a great move, and it wasn't the tidiest finish you'll ever see in your life, and I think I'm putting that lightly, to be honest, but we got a goal back, and then I started thinking we're in a good place here, and it was a lovely goal until the finish.
Yeah, it was
lovely passing.
Really good build-up play, wasn't it? I think Elmo gets it down the right-hand side, slipped it to Grealish, he penetrates the defence, and then it's like nice quick 1-2 pass in. Fantastic ball in from Elmo. I think that's what you do miss as well when he's not in there. He's got a little bit of stick last night. I'm not too sure why, because I think he had a decent game.
That baffles me. I mean, well, come on. Well, let's talk about Elmo a little bit. The goal, it's an untidy finish from Trezeguet. We'll come on to that. But Elmo, as backup right backs go, for where Villa are, I think we're going to struggle to get anyone who is as competent as Elmo. I think he did a good job last night. Arguably our best player. I thought he defended well. He put in a couple of good deliveries. Obviously we scored a goal off one of them. He doesn't offer the same things that Gilbert offers, because Gilbert's quicker. He's going to offer you more penetration. He loves to bomb forward, Gilbert, whereas Elmo's maybe not reluctant to come forward, but he'll pick and choose his moments. But as backup right backs go, there's nothing wrong with Elmo.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's as fast as Gilbert, who can bomb up and down the wing as fast as Gilbert, but even still, that delivery for the Trezeguet goal was pretty perfect. I don't think you could pick a better place to put it. He just seems very composed as well. Like I think he came out the side, didn't he, like 3-4 games into the season. If you haven't played a lot he's only played Carabao Cup games, and if you haven't played a lot of quick Premier League football since then, you're not going to be fully up to the races. And I think he did a fantastic job at Stamford Bridge away. It's like Chelsea away. It's not an easy place to start playing regular Premier League football again, is it? And I think it was an absolute bargain back in the day. Steve Bruce signed him. Like you said, I don't think there's any other better options. People talked about moving Konsa out wide and putting Engels back in, but
not for me.
Don't agree with moving people out of position just for the sake of it when you've got a right back sat on the bench anyway. So I think like you said, fantastic option to have off the bench, but I don't think he did quite enough to get Gilbert out the side at all. I think he'll come back in against Leicester on Sunday.
I mean, for want of a better phrase, he's the number two. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Gilbert is going to play. Gilbert's the future for Aston Villa, and he's having a great season. But having someone like Elmo in the dressing room who's going to get on with his job, minimum of fuss, come in when you need them. People like that are irreplaceable in some ways, because some people out of the team, they can kick up a stink in the dressing room, that they're not happy. It can become a bit toxic. They can bring other players down with them when things aren't going well. I should be in the team. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. But someone like Elmo, I think he deserves an awful amount of credit, and he's never really done badly for us. He had a bit of a sticky patch last Christmas where we weren't defending well in general at all. But for £1 million or however much he cost us, It's a good sign. It's been a good signing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's probably one of the longest serving players at Villa as well. You see all these like interviews that Villa do and stuff, and they say how good of a dressing room it is. And you know, Elmo's probably the mainstay in that, and he's helped Trezeguet sort of fit into the side and things like that. So fantastic signing. Brilliant.
We've digressed onto Elmo a little bit there, but we'll go back to the goal. And I saw someone say on Twitter actually earlier, I think it was Alex Berwick, he said he scored the perfect hat-trick with one goal. Because he had three, like header, right foot, left foot, I think probably his knees as well. It just somehow it ended up perfectly in the bottom corner, but it was a very, very scruffy finish.
Yeah, it was weird. I think where I was sat, I was in the lower tier of the away end, and I was about 8 rows up, so I literally could not see half the pitch because the crossbar was in the way.
Oh really? Yeah, I didn't have a clue it. Had gone in. Dolan was celebrating. I was thinking, what's he celebrating for? I don't know where the ball is.
No, I saw another picture doing the rounds on Twitter. Someone at the back of the lower tier, and they couldn't see half the pitch as well because the upper tier was in the way. So yeah, not ideal. Really? I couldn't see much of the pitch at all. I think it goes over Wesley's head, doesn't it? I can't remember who the defender is. It might be Zuma, but he's in the way of the ball, so I literally can't see anything. I see a few people start celebrating, and I'm just like, okay, let's go for it. And then I see Trezeguet sort of running away towards the dugouts, and that's my cue to go mad. But yeah, I like the perfect hat trick in one goal. That's a good way to put it. It was a weird one. He sort of headed it down. It was a little bit fortunate, I think that's safe to say. But I think we're pretty lucky to be going into the break with anything, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Trezeguet as well. I think that's 3 starts, 3 goals now, and we've talked about the importance of people chipping in with goals in general, and the midfield's doing it for us, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I think Wesley hasn't scored for ages, and I think, like I said earlier, we are still scoring goals, so that's a positive. It's always good to have goals coming in from all over the park, and it's only going to do Trezeguet well because he's come out the side for El Ghazi in the Newcastle and Man United games, and that's just going to benefit him. That's going to fire him up, and I think competition is really, really good. I think that's why we need to sign another striker in January, because that competition is only going to, boost Wesley's performances. I think we saw it when Target came in. Taylor was, he potted a little bit in the Championship, but then when Target came in and Taylor started in the Premier League, he was really, really good. So I think competition is so vital to get the most out of each player. So Trezeguet's done absolutely fantastically. I'm not sure whether El Ghazi's going to be back. I think we can only wait and see for the press conference.
Yeah, we need the conference, don't we?
But I'd probably keep him, because while he's scoring, why would you take him out the side?
Yeah, I mean, he strikes me as a little bit of a confidence player as well. Like, the goals are giving him a lift, and he's getting himself into more dangerous areas than he perhaps was before his first goal came, if that makes sense. I don't remember him being in the box loads when before he'd scored his first goal. Now suddenly he seems to be finding himself in the right place, and I think you'll gamble more if you're confident, and you'll gamble on getting yourself in the box and maybe trying to get on the end of something. And we're saying the finish was a bit lucky, because it was, but he's bought his own luck really by getting into the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't score goals if you're not in the right place. I think that's where Wesley struggles. I don't think his positioning is that great.
Yeah, I agree with that
at the moment. But Trezeguet, right winger, he's got himself in the danger zone. Fantastic ball in, and he scores. And I think, like you said, he is a bit of a confidence player. But is that a negative? I don't think it is, because while he's scoring, why not? And I think you are going to gamble more, like you said, when you are confident and you do, back yourself in front of goal, and goal scores well over the pitch. It's always a positive.
Yeah, so half time, I think we're pretty much everyone in the away end quite pleased in the Shed end with 1-1, because it didn't look like we were going to score. It wasn't like we were creating chance after chance against Manchester United in the first half. You felt like we might score every time we came forward, and we looked dangerous, but I didn't get that same feeling in the first half against Chelsea. But as we have done in previous games, we undo all that good work straight away in the second half. A bit like the Man City game, 48 minutes. Again, Tammy given too much time to be able to bring that ball down. I mean, there is actually people near him on this occasion, but I don't think we do enough to stop him. And he chests it down to Mount, and it don't take anything away from the finish. It's a phenomenal finish from Mount, and the chance the Villa away end were giving Mount in the first half suddenly looked quite stupid when that ball flies in. But it's a great finish. But I feel like we made it too easy for Tammy.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think I was watching Match of the Day, and after the game, Mason Mount did an interview, and he said he was speaking to Tammy at half-time, and they were working on that. They said if Tammy gets the ball, lay it off to Mason Mount, and he'll, have a dig. And it is a bit of a shinner, but it's still a fantastic finish. And like you said, I think Villa fans were giving Mount a little bit of stick in the first half, saying he was a poor version of Jack Grealish, and that's me not swearing. So I am very media trained. So well done, me.
Big time.
But it is a great finish, and it's 3 minutes after half-time, isn't it? And I think it is frustrating because after they scored that goal, they did pepper us a little bit. We couldn't get out of our own half at all. I think if we kept it tight for the first 15-20 minutes of the second half, we stood a chance because we did grow into the game eventually. But it's a great goal. You got to give it to them. But the midfield was a little bit questionable. Where were they on the edge of the box? Players were getting around. Tammy, like Conser, was in Tammy's face. But you got to be looking at those second balls. And I think the second balls is what we haven't done great with the second balls and winning things like that throughout this whole season. But against Chelsea especially, I didn't think that was great at all.
So there's two things I've taken away from what we're just talking about. So the first thing will be, is it concentration again? We were talking about concentration earlier. You've got to be switched on when you come out from half-time. Dean Smith would have said, I'm sure John Terry, Dean Smith, Richard O'Kelly, they'd have all have said, keep it tight first 15. Like you say, we'll grow into this and we'll cause them some problems because we know we've got good attacking players and I think we can cause any team trouble on our day. But again, we're not tight enough. And it does feel like we've switched off again a little bit. Yeah,
I know what you mean. That is the main frustration because you can't afford to do that, especially against the big six sides away from home. Because if you're going to nick a point here, if you're going to nick a point there, you need that little bit of luck, and you need to stay focused for 90 minutes. And that's the thing we need to work on, isn't it? I think crosses in the box, frustration, concentration, just focusing on your job and doing the simple things properly is what we need to work on a little bit. And what can you do? We chucked it away early, and from then on I just didn't really fancy us to get back in the game like we did against Man United, because like you said earlier, I think every time we came forward against Man United we looked good and we looked like we were going to cause them problems defensively. But Chelsea, fair play to them, you've got to give their young defence credit because they did really well to sort of just shut us out. But we've got.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't think we caused them enough problems.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but even still, I think they mopped it up well. Zuma, I think, had a good game. I like the look of him. But we didn't cause them enough problems, and that's probably the worry you've got to take away from Stamford Bridge.
My second point that I want to come on to from talking about that second goal is you're talking about how close Mount and Tammy are to each other, and they've obviously got a goal from that. And Wesley's got his detractors, and I'm not saying he had a good game and that he's doing everything he could be at the moment, because he isn't doing everything he could be in my opinion. But what I will say is we're not close enough to him. You've got to give him a little bit of help. He looked very, very isolated to me on Wednesday night. And again, he's not doing everything that he should be as a lone striker at all. I'm not for 1 minute saying that. But like our star flair player, he's nowhere near him in that second half. Yeah. Jack was so out on the left wing. I mean, we made a sub, didn't we, after they scored? We took Connor off, and again, he had a quiet game. I think most people did in that first hour or so, but Connor was having a quiet game. He comes off. But one thing we lose then is Connor's better at drifting to the left when Jack comes inside. It felt like in the second half, Jack was just too wide. He didn't seem to be able to get inside, and if he did try and come inside, there wasn't someone taking up that position that Connor takes up down the left flank, and Grealish just was not in the game enough for me. He got fouled a lot, don't get me wrong, but we just didn't get Jack involved enough.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's testament to his. We talked about it in the preview for this game. His defensive work rate is very good, and sometimes that does hinder him a little bit, because when we do get the ball, he's our only real out ball. He's the one player that the other players look to give the ball to when we're trying to get it out from our own half. And I think when he's like in his own box, what do? We lump it up to Wesley. He loses it. He gets a load of grief. Like what is he meant to do when he's got Christensen and Zuma all over his back? I'm not saying he had a good game, but he is isolated. He was isolated in the Man United game, and I still think he had a good game, because
Man U, I thought he was good. I mean, again, people were knocking him after that. I mean, you were there, so you got a better view of it than me. I sat there and watched the 90 minutes, as we said in the match preview for the Chelsea game. I thought he worked hard. He doesn't close down full pelt for the whole game, but you can't do that. It's not possible. Tammy didn't do that when he was leading the line for us, and he didn't do it last night. But I thought he was causing a few problems, and he was occupying people. Last night, not so much. But like you say, no one's anywhere near him. Even if let's say he was to bring down a long ball perfectly up against two defenders, hold them off. There's nowhere for him to go on occasion.
I think he did do that a few times. He brought it down a few times and then sprayed it out wide, whether that was to Elmo or Target or whatever. And then he'd bust a gut to get in the box. But he is isolated, and when like you said, Horahan goes off and then Douglas Luiz comes on, it takes out that little bit of forward intensity, and like you said, Grealish is going to get drifted out wide a little bit more because Douglas Luiz is very, very central.
Yeah, he didn't go wide once, did he? And he's essentially playing the same role that Connor does.
Yeah.
What I will say is about Douglas Luiz, I thought he was good when he came on.
Oh yeah, he was really good. He was all over the place. He looked like the one who wanted to score the most. He was always in the box. He had that header towards the end, didn't he? I thought it was in. I think Kepa was already in the goal, sort of clawing out. I thought that was in at the time, and that away end would have gone absolutely mad, because that would have been the biggest, like, we just didn't deserve anything. If that went in and we got a point out of it, that would have just been mental. But yeah, Luiz, in the last few games, I haven't been totally clear on what his actual role is, but when he came on for the last 20 minutes, he looked much fresher than everyone else. He did so well. In the Man United game, when he starts, I think he looked a little bit leggy towards the end of the game and he couldn't make as much of an impact, but when he's fresh and the players around him are tiring, he's got that burst of speed. He looks good when he comes on, so whether that's something to take forward, I think Nakamba had a good game as well. He was making a few really good tackles in the first half, breaking up play. But yeah, like you said, Luiz was really, really good when he came on.
What I thought about Luiz, he gave us a little bit of control that perhaps wasn't there in the rest of the game. As the game wore on, and obviously Chelsea are going to get tighter as the game goes on, and we're always going to push because we need a goal. Luiz gave us just that little bit of control. I felt he put his foot on the ball and he looked like he had time, whereas I didn't feel like anyone else on the pitch when they had the ball, even Jack, it didn't look like they had any time for me, and I felt Luiz he had that trait.
Yeah, good point. I think in the first half, we were saying at half time, I don't think players like McGinn put his foot on the ball and just stopped and sort of just took in what was around him. It was a little bit quick, just get it off as fast as you can. But Douglas Luiz, I think in the past, it's kind of been his downfall, where he's been too slow on the ball and he's just stood on it for a bit because players would come up and just nick it off him. But I think that's what we needed towards the end of that game, because it was a little bit panic, give the ball to Jack sort of thing. But when he came on, he looked really good and he just gather the ball, assess his options, get it out wide if he can, and that's really good. Hopefully that's an option we can have coming off the bench, because I don't think would I change anything for Leicester? I don't know. It is at home, so would you start Luiz because he is a little bit more of a threat going forward than Nakamba? I'm not too sure, but yeah, what would you do? Would you start Nakamba or Luiz against Leicester?
I mean, I think they'll both start.
Okay.
If I was to put money on it, I would say Connor will drop back down to the bench, and I think Luiz and Nakamba will both start. But what I would say for that is home games, I would have Connor in my side every time at home, because Leicester, let's face it, Leicester are flying. It's going to be a tough ask on Sunday. It's on Sky Sports as well. I feel like we most of the time struggle on Sky Sports over the years, although we obviously beat Newcastle the other week. I think it'll be Connor that will probably drop out, but I'd probably play Luiz and take Nakamba out if it was me. But I think Smith will play them both. What are you thinking?
I don't know, because I thought Luiz was so good when he came on, and he can be that option to come off the bench. And we've talked about it in the past, like options off the bench, especially if there's no El Ghazi, not fantastic. Like, people were calling for Kodjia, and I think, not for me at all. Like, what's he going to do that Wesley doesn't do already? Like, especially against two big centre-halves, I don't fancy Kodjia at all. But yeah, I love Connor as well, and I think we miss so much when he's not in the side. And I'd probably start Nakamba and Horahan, McGinn, Grealish out wide, and then leave Luiz on the bench. But it is a difficult one. Would you say it's a good headache to have, that old cliche? But you've got to start Connor for me, because I think he offers too much to leave out. I know we had a quiet game away at Chelsea, but at home as well, Leicester, I know, are probably a better side than Chelsea at the moment, but it's at home, and I think the majority of games this season we've been really good at home. We've taken Liverpool all the way to the final whistle. I know that's nothing really to boast about because we threw it away, but we are competitive much more at home. So yeah. I'll probably start Horahan as well, but even if you're going to bring Horahan on towards the end of the game, if you need a goal, again, that's a good option to have as well.
He always seems, when Connor is on the bench, he always seems to come on quite late. I always think too late to make an impact. And in a game against Leicester, we need every advantage we can get, and obviously set pieces is a big thing. Our set pieces aren't as good without Connor. As I say, I think he was quiet last night. I think he'd say himself it wasn't his best game, but then you could probably level that at most other people that were out there as well. I think it was tough in the midfield last night. McGinn was relatively quiet, if we're being honest as well. I think he got a little bit better as it went on, as space started to open up and tiredness a little more. But as I said at the start of the podcast, it felt very congested in the midfield to me. No time on the ball. I don't think anyone in our midfield particularly excelled last night.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we've talked about it. I'm not sure what's going on with McGinn, because he hasn't quite been there for the last 3-4 weeks. I think he was a little bit better yesterday. Had a few. He
grew into it, but still not. He set himself such high standards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, you're not going to play 10 out of 10 every week. It's not going to happen. But he does seem not odd. It sounds harsh. I don't want to say off, because that's not right. But he doesn't seem himself. Is the best way I think I can put it.
Yeah, we've got such high standards, like you said, about McGinn, and when he has an average game, it's just we sort of say that he doesn't have a good game, but he's just not there. I think you can't give him a break, because we miss too much when he's not there. But could you take him out? I don't think Smith's going to do that. I think he's one of them players where you're not going to take him out. I think someone said on Twitter as well, when I was doing my thing, they said, I think there's a little bit of a reluctance there to take your players like McGinn and Grealish off, even when they do look visibly knackered. I think a week or 2 week break could do McGinn the world of good. I think in the long term, even in the long term, could that benefit us more than if you play him every single week and he's not playing to his full potential? But I'm still positive that he'll come good eventually. Obviously, he'll get back to his normal self. There's no two ways about it. But right now, it's just not quite there.
Do you think maybe we've been a little bit harsh because the goals have dried up for him a little bit? I mean, I can't remember the last time he scored off the top of my head, but it feels like a while since he scored, whereas he went on a pretty good run at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think he was scoring most of our goals, wasn't he? Tottenham away, Arsenal away. When Wesley wasn't firing, he was the one that was scoring the goals, but now we've shared them out a little bit more. I think there is a little bit more impetus on, McGinn's not scoring, he can't be having a good game. I think there's a similar sort of mindset towards Wesley. He's not scoring, he can't have a good game. Obviously, Wesley isn't having great games at the moment, especially yesterday. But yeah, McGinn, he's not all about goals like a striker should be. I think, defensively going forward, he's got to work his socks off for 90 minutes every single game. And eventually that is always going to catch up with you, because as much as we don't like to think it, he is actually human. So if you're playing 90 minutes like twice a week, it's always going to catch up on you. So I think he needs a break, but I don't think we can afford to give him one. That's the thing.
No, it's difficult. Like you say, he plays the game at 100 miles per hour, and he's a unique player. Not everyone plays the game like he does, but he can't go the whole season playing every week. It's just not possible. He played in the League Cup as well. I think when Lansbury was injured, when Lansbury was due to play, McGinn ended up playing. I can't remember if he played 90 minutes or not, but he certainly played most of that League Cup game at Brighton. I think it was. So he hasn't really had a rest. He's then got international football as well. He's one of the first names in the Scotland team sheet at the moment. So there is a real danger of burnout. Like you said, these players are human. They cannot play every single week. And when they can, but they're not going to hit the same heights.
Yeah, I want to see McGinn fresh for those massive 3 games we've got around Christmas: Southampton, Norwich and Watford. I want to see him absolutely up to his best and destroying those teams like he has done in the past. But who do you rest him against? Because it's the Christmas period and you've literally got like no chance to rest any of your big names without you're not performing at the top. So it is a tough one. Dean Smith's got a difficult decision to make there, but I just don't see him taking him out, unfortunately.
Because even when we're winning games, I think the Newcastle game, we were comfortably going to win that game. We were 2-0 up Newcastle, pretty poor. But Jack and McGinn stay on for the whole game. They don't come off, and even that chance of just to give them a 10-15 minute rest. Also, you're taking them off. You're protecting them, especially Jack, from any injuries that might be incoming. So, do you think the management of the squad needs to be a little bit different?
I think we've got the options in the midfield as well to leave him out. I like if you take out McGinn for Horahan and then start Nakamba and Louise, I don't think that's awful. That's not a bad replacement, is it?
No.
Obviously, Horahan's still a threat going forward. He scores goals, so maybe you do that one of the weeks. But we don't have the biggest squad in the world. But in the midfield, I do think we have the options potentially just for one game. So, like I said, it's up to Dino. I don't know. You just got to monitor McGinn and make sure he's up for those games towards, Christmas and just after Christmas as well. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what he does do over this period. But we're going to have to wait and see.
I mean, it won't happen. But our conversation that we've had here, I've talked myself into give him a little bit of a rest on Sunday. Bring him on for half an hour. You never know. It might be a close game. Bringing someone like McGinn on for 30 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes could be massive.
Yeah,
but then I also think if I was hearing someone else say that, I'd be thinking, well, why are they suggesting taking one of our best players out? So it's a weird one. There's pros and cons, isn't there? It's difficult, but like you say, Dino knows best. He'll make the decision that he thinks right for Aston Villa.
True, and it's I say, I don't know, did I say about Trezeguet? If you're bringing him on and he's got fresh legs, if you're bringing on a fresh McGinn towards the end of a game, it's only going to be a benefit. And we're not going to blow Leicester out the water, so we're probably going to need a goal towards the end of that game, most likely. So if you're bringing McGinn on, even for 20, 15 minutes towards the end of the game, give it a right go. McGinn could be the difference. So, and even going forward in the long term, that could benefit us massively if he's having that rest and if he's going to be fresh for those bigger games in the future.
I can almost see the Twitter hate coming our way off the back of this chat.
Oh,
I can feel it. I can sense it incoming. You touched on Kodjia a little bit. Obviously, we're losing a game. We need a goal. He's our backup striker, and he's not coming on. I think that probably says it all, doesn't it?
I think he'll be off in January. There's been a few rumours doing the rounds. He might be off to Turkey for a couple of million quid. I'd probably take it. He's the wrong side of 30 now. I'm not saying he's getting old or anything like that, but I just don't think he's a good enough option. In the Championship, I'd 100% keep him, but in the Premier League, I just don't think he's going to come off the bench and make a difference. A few people I've seen are saying take Wesley out and start Kodjia.
No, not for me.
Not for me. As bad as, well, I don't want to say Wesley's been bad, but as poor as Wesley's been, I wouldn't put Kodjia in there because I just don't trust him. Why would you put Kodjia in? Because he hasn't scored this season. He hasn't played in the Carabao Cup, I don't think. He got injured.
He played against Wolves, didn't he?
Did he?
He came on. He came on against Wolves, I think, when Davis went off injured.
Yeah, doesn't play football. He doesn't play a lot of football, does he? So I don't know why you'd start Kodjia over Wesley. What does Kodjia have right now that Wesley doesn't? I just don't get that. Maybe coming off the bench as an injection of pace. I'm not too sure, but not for me. And that's why Wesley needs that competition. He needs that striker who's going to push him all the way and actually be, good competition, because Kodjia's not good competition for Wesley right now in the Premier League. And I think that's why we need that striker in January to really push Wesley to his full potential.
I was watching Kodjia warm up. It's just the body language. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for him in some respect because he got a couple of really bad injuries and he was never the same after those injuries. He kind of like lost a bit of spring and a little bit yard of pace a little bit. I think Kodjia when he got those two bad injuries that he had. I'm watching him warm up. He's got his hood up. He's just not got the body language of someone who's saying, "Come on, Gaffer, bring me on." He's going through the motions a little bit on the sideline. And near the end of the game, I don't know whether you saw this. By the sound of your view, probably not. They're shouting him to try and get him over. I think they had the intention to bring him on. Maybe he couldn't hear, but the message doesn't get through anyway. He doesn't make it over to come over. One of the fitness guys, one of the coaches, I think Sharkey, I can't remember his first name. Jason Sharkey? I can't. Anyway, one of the fitness guys runs over to him and has a chat with him. And to me, looked like he was saying, I mean, I'm no lip reader, but he looks like he's saying, get yourself ready, you're coming on, we need you coming on, get yourself stretched properly. And then just nothing happens of it.
I did see that.
That was a bit of a weird one as well.
Yeah, because that was like 10-15 minutes ago, wasn't it? And I think
it was 10. We're in the 80 something minute, yeah. I think. At that point.
I did see that. I thought, Wesley's going off here, Kodjia's coming on, a bit of a wild card. But it just didn't happen. I see what you're saying about the body language. I think if we know Kodjia's not going to play, he knows he's not going to play. He knows himself that it's just not on. He's a bit lackadaisical when he's warming up at half time. He's just spraying balls everywhere. I just don't. He knows as well as we do. He's probably going to be off because he's not. If he's not playing football now, when Wesley isn't fully firing, when is he going to play any football at Aston Villa? So he's been a good servant to this club. He really has. He was the star man, wasn't he, in our first season in the Championship? But
he's one of the few enjoyable things about that first season. To be fair to him.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he's run his course. Unfortunately, I think he's good. Like I said, good servant to the club. But unfortunately, it's probably time to go now for Kodjia.
Yeah. I mean, again, just the lack of options. Forward-wise, it's pretty poor. It is reminiscent of the defensive situation last season before we got from January, and I'm worried that we won't, but it's something that we absolutely need to rectify in the transfer window. From what we're hearing, it doesn't sound like we're going to be massively busy, which I don't mind, but I'd love to just be guaranteed now someone to say to me, you're getting in a striker, that a striker will come. I'd love that message, because it would make me feel a lot better about our season. I still don't think we'll get caught in massive relegation problems. I really don't know whether you agree with me, but a striker would just make such a difference, another option.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think we've played 5 of the top 6 away from home, so those big games where you don't especially expect to get points from, they're out of the way now. And you know, over this Christmas period, a lot of people are saying this is going to define our season. And like you said, I know you did the podcast with Greg Evans, and he said we're looking at a winger more than a striker, and that just baffles me a little bit. I know when you say we're not going to be busy, is that compared to the summer where we got 13 players in? But I think we need probably 2. I think we need another winger maybe, but the priority's got to be a striker. Because if you've got no Wesley, who have you got? Kodjia, we've touched on, don't fancy. Davis, who struggled to score goals in the Championship, he's a good player, he's just not quite there for me. Yeah, he's raw. He's got a lot of potential. I like Keenan Davis, big fan of him.
Me too.
He's not Premier League, is he? He's not Premier League, and you need that. I've said it so many times. You need that player to push Wesley. And you know, there's been a few names going around. Morelos, I would love Morelos. I know Dean Smith brushed it off a little bit when he got asked about that, but I would love. I think that's the sort of player we need. He's a different sort of option to Wesley. He's not this big lump up top. He's a little bit small, a little bit nippy, a little bit quicker.
He's a quickie lad.
It is, yeah. So you know, we need options. When you've got literally one option up top, I'm not sure how that's sustainable.
Well, the simple fact is, it isn't sustainable. It's unlikely as well Wesley's going to go the whole season without picking up a knock of some description. I mean, Davis is quite injury prone as well. He's had a few injuries in the last few years, hasn't he, Davis? He missed the majority of last season. He's become a little bit injury prone as well. So we simply don't have the options there, and sustainable is the word, and it simply is not sustainable at all.
No, because if Wesley's injured, like you said, what do? Davis is injured right now. Kodjia probably going to be off. So surely you've got to bring in a striker. I saw someone on Twitter yesterday say bring back Hepburn Murphy over Wesley. I just think that's ridiculous. I think that sums up Twitter yesterday night. Let's be honest, it was a bit of a minefield, which I think was a little bit of a funny one. But
I stayed off it last night, to be fair.
Probably a sensible decision.
I couldn't be bothered with it. I mean, I came away thinking Chelsea weren't that great. That was my thought immediately after the game. I felt there was something there for us. They weren't that great. When I watched the highlights back this morning at work, actually they had a fair few chances. Actually, I mean, Heaton's made a wonder save as well from a free kick. Tammy's put one wide that he'll be very disappointed with. That actually, and I spoke to a few Chelsea fans as well, saying that was one of their better performances this season. So I think my judgment maybe wasn't correct.
Coming out of the game in the concourse, I was saying to my mate that could have been 4 or 5. I think, like you said, Abraham put one wide. That Heaton save and the Willian free kick is absolutely incredible. Like,
great goal,
there one of the saves of the season. Yeah, Heaton probably one of the bargains of the season. Like, just compare that to Butler now, who can't start for Stoke, who are in the bottom 3 of the Championship. Just put that into perspective. Fantastic signing. You know, absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. But yeah, it's a bit of a funny one as well, but probably could have been more in my opinion. But Chelsea, one of their best games of the season. I don't know, obviously I don't watch Chelsea week in, week out, but
I watched them.
Lampard said it as well, didn't he, in Match of the Day? He said, I think we were really good. He said that was probably one of our better games of the season. So fair play to Chelsea. They put us in you know, they put us to the sword, and they got the well-deserved 3 points in the end.
They've come across a bit defensively erratic, Chelsea, in some games, whereas you really didn't get that feeling last night, unfortunately. I mean, it might be something to do with the way we played a little bit, but it's typical, isn't it? You think you can get it at defence, and then suddenly they put in one of their most solid performances of the season. Like they put Azpilicueta to left back. Christiansen came in for Tomori, I think perhaps needed a couple of games off, and they suddenly just looked a bit more of a unit than they have done in the times I've seen them, and that is annoying.
Yeah, defensively, I thought they were okay. I know we didn't test them too much. Kepa, I don't think he had to do anything apart from that Douglas Luiz save at the end. So I think it was a bit of both. Chelsea being okay and Villa just not really testing them enough. like I said, Kepa didn't have to do anything, but I think we had chances. We got the ball out wide a lot towards the end of the game. McGinn found himself out wide. Hotter came on, I know. Elmohamady was swinging balls in. I just think they kept on heading it away and blocking it and things like this. So I think it's mostly on Villa's part of not being quite at the races as well as it is Chelsea just being fairly average. So a bit of both, but you got to take what positives there are and just move on.
Yeah, nearly scored at the end, as we talked about earlier. It was actually a good header from Luiz. He did well to generate some power and get it in the corner, in my opinion. But Kepa's made the save, and I think what summed up our night for me. And so we've got a set piece at the end, and Heaton goes up for it to make a nuisance of himself, and we deliver just a terrible free kick that's nowhere near what was needed at that point. And I think that typified our night. Really, just wasn't quite there.
I think what typified our night was a ball that came over the top. Grealish goes for some sort of scissor kick, completely misses it, and the whole Stamford Bridge goes way. And it's just like, you just know that's not going to be our night when that sort of thing happens. And that free kick, like you touched on at the end, it was just so flat. I think Heaton wins the header, it falls to Mings.
It's like it's a flick on it, doesn't it? But it's so low, like you say, flat, the perfect description of it. And then Mings puts the ball in the back in the box, and it's the end of the game. Just goes straight into Kepa's arms.
There you go, and that's that.
And I've got that familiar feeling because I think I've been to 5 aways now and we've lost every one this season. So
I know, we were saying on the coach down in London, when was our last win in London? It might have been
knows.
One of the QPR games or something. We're never very good down there.
I think it was QPR when Doma scored twice in his golden season, in the season we didn't go up, because I was at
2.5 years ago.
I was at that one and we definitely won that game. Yeah. That feels like the last away win I saw, and I think I've probably been at every London away game. So yeah, unhappy day. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit, because we've got you on, is away days in general, because there will be people that listen to our podcast that live abroad, maybe have never been to an away game, and I just want to talk about how good they are. Because even when you lose, you still always have a good day, because the Villa away faithful amaze me. I have such a good time. When I go away, I speak to people that I've never spoken to in my life. I mean, you're probably the same. People come up to you and tell you how much they love your content, which is by the by, but it is a nice thing. See, I'm going down to the toilet, and someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, Max Stokes is in there. Isn't there a bit of an ego clash? You not like each other?" I'm like, no, we're friends. We like each other. He comes on our channel. If I ever get invited, I'll come on the Villa on tour. You know, not that I'm bitter about that, but the invites do seem to be one way. But you get that aspect. You get that aspect from our side of things now, which is nice that people enjoy your content. But just the people on away days, you always have such a good laugh and such a good time.
Just before we move on, I think you did actually feature on the Chelsea Villa on tour video, so go and check that out.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, you are going to watch it. I know you are. Leave a like as well.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Anyway, away days. Yeah, look, going to Villa Park is absolutely incredible. Like, going home is fantastic, but there's nothing quite like going away, meeting up with
it's lovely.
Meeting up with your mates at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock's probably a late one for me. Getting on the coach, you know everyone on the coach, you know, having a drink, or having a sing-song to the songs on the coach, which we like to do. Finding a boozer and just meeting people, speaking to loads of people, especially like me and you know, people know us, but we probably don't know everyone. So them coming to us, telling them about them, and it's just so good speaking to people as well. And then at the ground as well, it might be a new ground for you. You know, it's just a different experience to going at home. And if you do, I know it is really hard to go away these days with the tickets and things. But if you do really get a chance, go on an away day, because it is really good. Make a day of it as well, because there's nothing quite like it. I think the people is what makes it so good. You know, you have a right laugh. It's just so enjoyable. Like you said, even if we don't win, it's just so fun. I mean, it's always a bonus if you do pick up points, because you know the scenes in and away end are never quite they are, you know, in the Holt or whatever. But yeah, away days, honestly, those are the ones that I look forward to the most. And if you can pick up a win, massive bonus.
I mean, you've pretty much based a whole channel on going away, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do your away videos get higher viewings than the home videos? I would imagine they would. Is that true?
I don't think so. I think it depends on depends on the game probably, but yeah, I think I can make more of a video if I go away, because if you're at home, there's only so much you can do. Look, walking up to the Holt End, we're in the Holt End, etc. But if you're going away, you can show different things. You can show different areas around the grounds, different grounds themselves, you know, different fan bases and things like that. Whereas if you're at home, you know what you're going to get. Like, I'm sat in the upper Holt, I can't see away. Well, I can see them, but I can't hear them or grasp any atmosphere from them or anything like that. So it is a little bit repetitive. But when you're away, they're always different. You always have a great time, and like I said, nothing quite like them, and that is what I look forward to as well. That is literally it's the best thing about liking football away days, and you know, people that support top 6 teams or glory hunters, that they'll never get to sort of go on a proper and away day, and that's what I do feel sorry for them a little bit, because there's nothing quite like an away day, and I absolutely love them.
Yeah, because I'd love to go every week, absolutely love to, but I go to every home game. Obviously I live in London, so there's the travel aspect for me every single game, pretty much, but I can't go every week, it just can't happen for me. But the away games I do go to, I've made friends for life just purely off standing next to someone at an away game. I mean, I bring him up a lot and he gets a buzz off it, to be fair, but Aston, my mate, the only reason I'm friends with him is because I stood next to him at Brentford once, and now we're probably friends for life, and that's mad. And it is like it's a special thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't go every week, I'm lucky that if I want a ticket for an away game, I can usually get one, and I appreciate that I'm fortunate to be able to do that, because they are special.
Yeah, and like you said, I've made friends through just Villa in general as well, but away days, you just meet up with the same people, and you know, you get to know new people, and then they join your group and things like that. So that's the best thing about it. I know I'll mention Simon Lyons as well. He'll love this mention. Like, you know,
he'll love. But I don't think he's ever been mentioned on the Villa View. So this will be a big moment for Simon. Usually just Villa on tour. This is the big leagues now.
Well, there's a big crossover these days, isn't there? So we might as well bring everyone together. But
let's just make it one channel.
Yeah, well, yeah. But you know, I first met him in Leipzig, and then we started talking, and then you know, he joined our group, and he starts coming away with us now, and that's the best thing, because if I didn't go away or anything like that, I probably wouldn't know him. You know, I've made a really good friend there, so that's the best thing about away days, the people, and just having a really, really good time with them.
Yeah, shout out to the Villa away faithful, because as I say, everyone's so kind to me. On away days, people always like talking to me, and it means a lot to me, and I genuinely love the people that you see on away days. There's people who I'll speak to every away day when I see them, whose name I don't even know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
At some point, but I know them to say hello to them and have a chat, and it's mad. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, because as I say, there's people abroad that probably don't get to many away games. I don't think we've ever talked about it fully on this channel. I just wanted to try and give a little bit of an insight to what it's like, and you're the perfect person to talk about that with, because your commitment home and away every week. I salute you, Max, because it's a phenomenal effort, and to be young again, Max, to be young and have the freedom.
I know.
Yeah, I think I'm double your age. And unfortunately for me, I think I'm double your age. So sad times. Not a pleasing thing to say. That's not. I think we've probably covered most things. But what I did want to talk about a little bit was Villa and Proud. I don't know whether you saw the video that came out on social media yesterday, just explaining what Villa and Proud's all about for the LGBT community. And I just want to talk about how important that is, that Villa Park is an all-inclusive place, and Aston Villa is an all-inclusive football club, and people that perhaps would think that they wouldn't be welcome at Villa Park, they are welcome. I mean, I saw some abhorrent comments on social media. Villa do this post, and inevitably people pipe up and say stupid things, narrow-minded things that's just not on at all. But did you see that video yesterday? I just thought it was a really good video.
I think I missed that one. No, I'll check it out.
Okay, so it's on Villa's social media channels, and there is a Villa and Proud are on Twitter as well. It's just about we're going on away days, and people make us feel really welcome, and it's sad that not everyone would have been made to feel like that in the past at football matches, and perhaps thinks that football matches might not be for them. So I think Villa and Proud, they spread a really, really important message, and I know they've got a sign-up sheet today about being an ally of Villa and Proud, and I just wanted to say I'm going to sign up to that, and I want to be an ally, and I think it's great that Villa are doing the stuff they're doing within the community and trying to get more people involved.
Yeah, fair play. I think Villa's a very multicultural club. You go to the Holt End, and there's just loads of people that you speak to every week, and it's just so good that it's so inclusive most of the time. And I've made friends of all sorts of cultures and religions and things like this through Villa. So it's a fantastic thing that they're doing, and fair play to them for that.
Yeah, the rainbow laces, both the Villa women's team and the Villa men's team on Sunday against Leicester will be wearing rainbow laces, and it's a really good initiative. So get behind it if you can, because it is a really, really good initiative. And like we say, we always say Aston Villa is a family club, and we can't say that unless we're including everyone. So I think it's brilliant, and we're fully behind the Villa View as a channel. I'm sure Villa on Tour as well, fully behind all the messages behind Villa and Proud.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say.
No, I was prepping. Did you want to start your camera again? We probably only got about 5 minutes left anyway.
I'm on 7.5 minutes, so we might be okay.
Okay. Right, we'll finish off then. I'll just do this competition, and then I think we're done.
Nice one.
So Max, you won't know because obviously you cannot see me from where you are, the wonders of the World Wide Web, that we've actually managed to do a podcast. Underused term, World Wide Web. I don't think people use it enough. I'm bringing it back. I floated it in the WhatsApp in the Villa View WhatsApp group earlier on, and people were laughing. But I think it's an underused term. I'm bringing it back. So I've got an Art of Football T-shirt on. It's like basically it's the Muller logo for those listening by audio, but instead of saying Muller, it says McGrath. So they do some really good things on the Art of Football website, and they're kind enough to send me this T-shirt. So you too can win this T-shirt with a little competition that I've managed to think of just before we came on, because this has been pretty much Dan and Max unplanned, hasn't it? I've got no Tom Julian notes. We've just gone for it and seen what's happened. So it's Paul McGrath's 60th birthday on Wednesday as well, I think, or earlier on in the week. It was Paul McGrath's 60th birthday. So if you want to win this T-shirt in your size, what I want you to do is, I've done it so it can be done. In respect for Paul McGrath, I want you to name 11 of Villa players, or players that have played for Villa and also played for Republic of Ireland. So I've done an 11, so it can be done. So you've got to have a goalkeeper. The rest of it, just name 10 outfielders. Try and keep it to defence, midfielders, and strikers if you can. So the one I like the best, the 11 I like the best, will be the one that wins this T-shirt. Now I'll run that by you, Max. Did that competition make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. That is. I like that. Fair play.
Yeah, so I've gone with that. I've wrote it down, so it definitely can be done. I've probably missed some blatant ones as well, to be fair, because I think I've got 3 or 4 strikers in my side. So yeah, the one I like the best will win the T-shirt. So yeah, good little competition, that, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, nice one. I'll probably give it a go if I can. Probably don't have the best knowledge in the world of. I only started supporting them 10 years ago. I can name a few.
Yeah,
but
I mean, don't do it now. Don't do it now.
You know, leave your comments and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can enter the competition by all means, but I can tell you now for an absolute fact that you will not win.
Do you remember, like 2 years ago, I won a competition?
I knew you were going to drag me. I knew you were going to drag this up.
I'm going to bring it up. Of course I
don't know what happened. Miscommunication, mate.
I'm not having that. You still owe me some socks.
Something happened. I mean, I could have given you some socks last night. They'd have been warm, but I could have given you some signed socks or something.
I'm still waiting for those socks.
What you wanted, Max? Well, I can tell you. I don't know what happened there. That was miscommunication, but now you're a professional YouTuber. You can buy your own socks, mate. You're not relying. The Villa View aren't going to spend their budget and use their contacts to get Villa on tour socks. It's just not going to happen. You want to mention your merch?
I was just drinking.
I'm about to mention my merch.
Just drinking out of a mug. So you can get yourself. Don't get yourself any Villa View mugs or anything like that.
That's a disaster. That's a disaster. You do it. You on video doing that on Villa View channel.
Villa on tour mugs. You got different sorts of mugs. I think there's 3 different types of mugs you get in that.
Really? Is that?
Yeah, you get yourself a nice phone case as well.
Great.
Samsung, iPhone, nice hoodie, T-shirt, whatever you like. I'm sure there's a link in the description on my videos. Whether the Villa View will be kind enough to do it on here, I'm not too sure. But head over to my channel. You can probably find it. I mention it in most videos. So cheers for allowing me to say that, Dan. Appreciate it.
It's all right. You've done me a favour, to be fair, coming on doing it. If it wasn't for you today, there'd be no podcast. So we do actually owe you a lot that we managed to get something out today, to be fair. But I will get Jacob to, if he can, plaster a Villa View logo over your mug when you've been drinking out of it, because we're selling our mugs as well. This has turned into a little bit into flog it at the end of the podcast. But yeah, our mugs, we've had plenty of orders so far. Tom's in charge of the mugs, so I don't know too much about it, but they will be sent out soon. I think there's been a few people asking when they'll be sent out, and if you're interested, take a look on our Twitter page and you'll find out how you can get yourself a Villa View mug. I think that's it, Max.
My camera's flashing,
as I say,
so you better go.
Oh, is it flashing? Do I need to stop?
No, it's just because the battery's about to go, so wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. Thanks very much for coming on, Max. Really appreciate it. We're doing fan cams on Sunday, so watch out for that video if you can. I think that's our next output. And we've also got a very special video with Tony Daly coming out next week. Not a good look for me and Tom, but I've watched it and it is an entertaining video, to be fair. Tony Daly using his Daily 7 business to train me and Tom at the gym. Some scenes that viewers may find unpleasant, but as I say, it is a decent watch. Other content-wise, I did my podcast for The Athletic. The second one of that came out this week, so if you could check that out as well, that would be really good, because it's something, obviously, I'm trying to build a media career for myself, and getting a gig with The Athletic's a big thing, so if all the Villa View people could listen to that as well, that would be really good, and it is free. I know The Athletic's a subscription service, but the podcast is free, so yeah, tune into that if you're looking for something else to listen to Villa-wise. Go and check out Max on Villa on Tour as well. Check out his Chelsea vlog as well. Someone called me a vlogger last night, and I dispute that, because I think I'm more of a professional than a vlogger, but
where were these digs
here
coming
we
from
go. No, it's just a playful end to the podcast. Yeah. Max, you'll have a vlog coming out as well, won't you, next week off the back of the Leicester game?
Yes, I'll be at the Leicester
as well.
game.
So, yeah, so check that out as well. Thanks again to Max, and as always, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.